the Game of Thrones book tag coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to Book Your Imagination. My name is Anne. Tonight is the season premiere for the final season of Game of Thrones. Aww. I don't have a television, so I have never seen this series before, but I know that a lot of you are huge fans of the series, so I kind of wanted to celebrate in my own small way. I saw this tag, the Game of Thrones tag, on Pretty in Paper Cuts channel, so I decided to do it. The tag was created 4 years ago by Claire Rousseau. I have a link to both of their channels in the description box below, so please check them out. There are 10 questions, so let's get started. Actually, let me clarify. There are not 10 questions. There are 10 characters from Game of Thrones and their attributes. And we are to match a book to those attributes. So now let's get started. Number 1, Arya, a character who's all about revenge. That has to be Inspector Javert from Les Miserables. He spends his entire life chasing after the criminal Jean Valjean, whose original offense was stealing a loaf of bread. So yeah, that is definitely a character all about revenge. 2, Varys, a book featuring political intrigue. The Hellfire Club by Jake Tapper. This is the story of a man who is appointed to fill out the congressional term of a congressman who has passed away. What he finds in Washington is a viper's nest of manipulation and intrigue. 3, Joffrey, a villain you love to hate. That has to be Karis from An Ember in the Ashes. She is just evil incarnate. She's a great villain. 4, Jon Snow, a coming-of-age story. I picked The Impossible Fortress for this. This is a YA mystery. It features Billy, who is a nerdy teenager who wants to be a programmer. This is set back in the 80s where, your most powerful computer was a Commodore 64. He hangs out with his 2 nerdy friends, and then Playboy releases an issue with their idol, Vanna White, and they will do anything to get a copy of this magazine. It is really a wonderful coming-of-age story. 5, Jaime and Cersei, a ship you just can't get behind. For me, this has to be Samantha and Alex from Dear Mr. Knightley. This is chick lit. It's the story of Samantha and her relationship with Alex. She is a young woman who's really emotionally immature. She's kind of a mess. She's not good with people. She really just wants to hide out and kind of be hermit-esque, I guess. And he is an accomplished author about 10 or 15 years older than her. So I just never really bought into the relationship as a romantic relationship. I could see it as a friendship or a mentorship, but romantic, I just couldn't get behind that. 6, Lady Olenna, a kick-ass older character. I'm going to choose Tenzin from The Elemental Mysteries by Elizabeth Hunter. Tenzin is a vampire. She's hundreds of years old. She is smart. She's pretty fearless. She's also kind of creepy. She's sassy and definitely kick-ass. 7, Dany, a book featuring dragons. There are so many choices for this one, but I decided to go with a middle grade fantasy by Phyllis Day George called Dragon Slippers. This started as a standalone, but it ended up being 3 books in the series. Dragon Slippers, Dragon Flight, and Dragon Spear. It is really adorable. 8, Sansa, a character you grew to love. Holly Golightly from Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. I didn't like her at first in the beginning of this book. I thought she was selfish and manipulative, but she definitely grew on me. She's so endearing in the story, so I definitely grew to love her. 9, Melisandre, a favorite magic system. Again, this is another tough one because there are so many really great and creative magic systems in books. I think if I'm talking about my most favorite magic system that I want to read about, that would have to be in the Black Blade series by Jennifer Estep. There are 3 books in this series: Cold Burn of Magic, Dark Heart of Magic, and Bright Blaze of Magic. This is the story of 17-year-old Lila who lives in the most magical place in the world. It's not Disneyland. place is ruled by mafia-like families, and pretty much everyone who lives in this town is associated with one of these families, and Lila wants nothing to do with them, but she saves the life of the son of the head of one of these families, and then she is recruited to be his bodyguard, and the story takes off from there. It's a YA fantasy book. 10. Tyrion, a character whose weapon is his mind. I have two very different series for this. The first is IQ by Joe Ide. There are 2 books in this series so far, IQ and Righteous. This is the story of Isaiah, who has a prodigious IQ, hence his nickname IQ. These are gritty crime mysteries, and what I really like about them is that justice is always served. It's just not served in the way you think it's going to be. The second series is The Blackthorn Key by Kevin Sands. This is middle grade mystery. This is the story of Christopher Rowe, who is an apothecary's apprentice. It's set in the Middle Ages, and Christopher saves the life of the King of England on numerous occasions. He is extremely smart. He uses his mind to figure out these very complex puzzles. So that's the Game of Thrones book tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourself officially tagged by me. If you're a huge Game of Thrones fan, then I definitely tag you. And also, how do you feel about the series ending? I know that's gotta be hard. Thank you for watching.